This book is called The Road to Memphis. I had the pleasure of reading it. It has 290 pages with relatively small text, as you can see, so I made it a bit difficult to find where I was on the page at times, but yeah, it wasn't the biggest deal. It was written by Mildred D. Taylor, who is a Newbery winning author, as you can probably not see from that distance, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to read it. It is the fifth book in the Logan series of books about a black family called The Logans. It was first published in 1990, which was a bit of a surprise to me. It felt a little more dated than that, but I got used to it. Didn't have a whole lot of difficult words to comprehend, except for one specific example, which we'll be getting to later. And yeah, I'd give this about middle 8th grade, early high school level age rate. It was not that difficult. It did have quite a lot of N-bombs in it, however, which may bump up the rating for some. The book is set in the early 1940s of America, and it features mostly southern states, with Illinois being crammed in there too. It featured mostly fictional cities, but occasionally would name drop Chicago or Jackson, the capital of Mississippi. There's a lot of characters in this book, so I'll just go over some of the main ones. Those included Cassie, Stacy, Little Man, Mo, Clarence, the Sims, the Ames brothers, and stupid Solomon Bradley. And yes, I bet stupid is actually his first name. Cassie was the intelligent, outgoing one who got little respect because she's a schoolgirl. I liked her as the main character. I thought she was pretty well written. Her brothers, though, were a completely different story. I liked Stacy, but he barely got any book time because all the book talked about is him wanting to go into the military and pretty much nothing else. Little Man fit his name because he's little, and in the story as well, he barely did anything, but he was very whiny and tried too hard to be funny, so I did not enjoy him very much. Mo got the family into the whole disaster by smacking the Ames brothers with a crowbar, which is somewhat justified. We'll get into that later. I grew to like him as the story went on. Lastly, we have my least favorite character in the whole book, stupid Solomon Bradley. So here's an incredibly shallow and basic plot summary of this book. The book follows Cassie Logan, who dreams to go to a law school, and once she gets out of high school. So here's an incredibly shallow and basic plot summary. The book follows Cassie Logan, who dreams to go to a law school when she's out of high school. But complications arise when some neighborhood tormentors, which are the Ames brothers, get hit in the face by Mo after they begin to rub his head for good luck, which is that's a bad part of the book. And from there, Cassie, Mo, Stacy, Little Man, and Clarence must bring Mo to safety, which is out of state. They head for Chicago. I had never really understood why that was, but they head to Chicago with a target on their back and World War II brewing around them. Sounds kind of cool. Now, obviously, we're in a very different time period now from when we were back in the 1940s, but I think events like those Minneapolis riots from COVID years, that was a long time away. I think events like those prove that there's still heavy levels of segregation in the world, which I think at this point that it's going to be here forever. We just got to kind of get used to it. And for me, that sucks to know, but it's just something that shouldn't have to be accepted, but unfortunately, just like every bad thing in the world, it just kind of is. And even the header on the back of the book, it talks about it's, and I quote, as America hovers on the brink of World War II, Cassie Logan fights a battle closer to home, the battle of black against white. So that is, comparing it to World War II, that is a very, that's deep, low, dark. The battle of black against white is probably, I think just the header alone is the second biggest reason. No, scratch that. That is the biggest reason I decided to pick up this book, because that's something that's always kind of made me curious, and I think this book does a very good job of highlighting why that's a problem. Now, there was a lot about this book that I liked, and a lot that I disliked. But my biggest like I said already, was its portrayal of racial tension, whether that be the Ames boys taunting all the blacks in town, or the hospital visit halfway through the book, where a white hospital wouldn't take Clarence, even though he was wearing a military suit and he was practically in critical condition at that point of the book. Just walking into the door, seeing a lady tell you, you can't be in here. A doctor coming, seeing the state Clarence is in, and saying, you can't be in here because your skin is a different color from mine. Like, I know that was commonplace back in the day, and it's probably, it hurts my brain just to think that there was a point in time where we just accepted that. Not a complaint, but a definite dislike was how awkward the pacing kind of got, which I feel like for books that's very subjective. But this book felt like it would start with a tiny little snowflake that would slowly build up into a gigantic snowball, and then that snowball would eventually explode within a couple of pages, and then the whole thing started all over again. Repeat that until the book is over. I did not really enjoy how it was formatted, but sometimes that made for cool moments. But for the most part, it just kind of felt like nothing was happening, nothing was happening, nothing was happening. Wait, what just happened? Why did everything just happen? And then nothing's happening anymore. It was very hard to get used to. And I'll try not to spoil too much, but this book really does have just a terrible, terrible, terrible ending. A big event happens. You're like, wow. And all the characters are like, wow. And then it kind of awkwardly sifts out, and then it's just over. It does not feel conclusive at all. And I haven't checked. I should probably check. I haven't checked if there's more books in this series, because I definitely do want to check out what happens next. But yeah, I feel like most books are conclusive regardless of them being a series or not. But this book didn't even feel like it was left on a cliffhanger. It just felt like a really bad ending. And my final complaint was stupid Solomon Bradley. So that was my very highly comprehensive review of The Road to Memphis by Mildred D. Taylor. It was pretty alright. That's a 6 out of 10. Time was not wasted, just misused.